Welcome back to another episode of No Man's Sky, and this is from my apparently massive backlog of footage from March for normal mode gameplay. And yeah, just in terms of size, what I've learned is my backlog is probably about as massive and glorious as the Trump wall may eventually be. And yeah, there are apparently I wasn't sure if that was actually going to happen or if that was just sort of an idea that got fizzled out or what. I said, I probably thought it would have a 50-50 chance. Hey, like I thought, either it happened, either it'll happen or it won't. Basically, that was the probability I gave to it. It could happen or it might not, but it looks like they're at least starting work on it. And when I say starting work, I mean they're starting the work of, choosing how they're going to do it and what company is going to get the contract and that kind of stuff. So I mean, good for them if they move the wall up. I mean, campaign promises and whatnot. But and my whole thing about the wall is, I mean, if they can do it, if they can do it well, I don't know, like, it's not a terrible idea, except for the fact that it's probably going to cost a crushingly large amount of money. But I mean, just, with respect to, I mean, I get that, even illegal immigrants are typically good for the economy, but at the same time, like, illegal immigration is, get this, illegal, and, law enforcement, I guess, should try to prevent it, and also try to encourage legal immigration and going through the proper channels. There was an interview I saw on CNN. CNN is fake news if you put too many N's in. No, CNN, I don't know how you did 3 N's. But CNN, and it had like this immigrant guy who like moved in like, I don't know, like a million years before, which obviously has an exaggeration, but he was old. Like he was, like, I don't know, he moved in, it was like 30 years ago or something. He moved to America. And then his kid, was born in America, and his kid worked for CNN with 2 N's. And yeah, I don't know. His kid was like anti-Trump, but he was pro-Trump, and he was like, "Protect America from new immigrants," And I guess I don't remember exactly what his reasoning is, but I think it was partly to do with the fact that he came to America, he earned a job, he fought for his place in society. And he doesn't want new immigrants, stealing his jobs, his job away, and jobs for his children, and, jobs for true Americans, which he would, consider himself, but not necessarily new immigrants. That last one, about true Americans, I'm not sure if he said that or not. So just don't quote me on that part, but the rest of it, I'm pretty sure he said. Either way, it was a while ago I saw that, so I mean, I could be getting parts of it wrong, but the point is he did support Trump, and it was because he didn't... he was supportive of some of Trump's policies towards immigrants. So how about that, eh? But no, I mean, the other thing about the wall that would be cool for America is keeping their criminals in. I don't know if it's a really big problem, to be honest, American criminals running to Mexico. I don't know. I don't know what the stats on that are. I think it's a big problem in movies. I don't know if it's a big problem in real life, because as it so happens, movies and real life are not the same. But if that is a problem for them, I mean, just for making it harder for criminals to flee the country in that respect, I mean, unless they have a helicopter or, access to some sort of plane, in which case it won't matter. But if they're trying to get away by car, unless they can somehow get through Border Patrol, I mean, con their way through or something, or maybe Border Patrol doesn't know. But, it could be useful. I guess, maybe. But, anyways, yeah, I have a big backlog I've learned. Because when I was finishing up because this video it's the first video in a new gameplay session. And so when I was finishing up the last session, I thought, maybe I didn't have that much left. I thought I was a lot further through this whole backlog than I was. And then when I actually checked, I was like, oh, I have quite a lot more sessions to upload and to edit here, and some of them are quite a bit longer than I thought. So Yeah, so this one had, I think, about 4.5 hours, or has about 4.5 hours of gameplay footage. So with editing this video and being about this video being 15 minutes with editing, so 4.5 hours. I got this video done, and I brought it down to, with all the stuff I cut out, and then also the duration of this, brought it down to about 3 hours and 50 minutes. So that's 50 with a 0. So that's good at least. I mean, so even though there's 4.5 hours of footage, and once I edit it all up, there will be a bit less than that I'll actually upload. Actually, probably quite a deal less than that. Probably at least half less than that, because I don't use a lot of footage. I cut a lot of it out, but especially in this video, because there was some mining I cut out, and I just cut mining out wholesale. So that's where a lot of what I cut out, that was a lot of it was just that mining that I didn't feel like keeping in. But yeah. So if you see up there, that is a monolith, but I've been there before, so I actually didn't cut this out. I actually kept this in because I figure why not? I do need to keep at least some of it in, or else it won't be a video. But I did speed it up. You can kind of tell it's a little bit faster, because I was just sort of going around checking the knowledge stones, I guess, to see maybe, I don't know if I'm there, maybe if I missed one, or just to, if any of them had knowledge in them still. Then I guess it means maybe I hadn't been here. But there is, like, even if you look there is I forget what they're called, but whatever they're called, there is one of them, and they can only be placed by you, so that obviously that means I was there, a signal booster. Yeah, so I pick the Colonial Outpost because that's sort of a good one. I mean, they're all good, I guess. That's just the one I wanted to do at that particular point in time, so that's just what I picked to tell me about, and which means picking that means I gotta make my way back to the ship, because if you can imagine, it would be kind of, I don't know, because it wouldn't be specifically fun to walk everywhere where it's like half an hour away, but I wonder if it would almost be an idea, not for me, mind you, but for someone else, to play, I don't know, like a sort of a session of this where, and I guess it would be a live stream anyways, just because live streams typically tend to go a bit longer, but where they were on a planet, and maybe this would work better, because you can go to moons in this, right? I don't know, but I think you can. I don't know. I have no idea. I just think you can go to moons, but I don't know if you can go to moons specifically. But it'd be kind of neat, maybe, if they just walked everywhere, or maybe that would be really boring. It'd be an idea. I mean, but ideas can be good or bad, which I just said that. It sounds like something Trump would say. Like ideas can be good or bad. But what we do is we take the bad ideas and we make them good. So in that sense, there's only good ideas. That sounds, anyways, yeah. But like, for example, I think it was Mario Kart 8 anyways. It was one of them, but I think it was Mario Kart 8, where they had the idea to have, like underground segments where you would drill through. And that, when you just hear that, it's like, whoa, greatest idea ever. But then when you think about how that would actually translate in the gameplay, you're like, oh, wait, that would actually kind of suck. And I get, they could have still done it, but I mean, I just think it's a better idea on paper than in the actual, than it would be in the actual game. Look at that guy. Wow, that was an edit there. But if you see, if he's still there, and if I turn around, yeah, well, I was running away. But if he's that guy, he had like, I don't know, fins? Not fins, like, well, I guess fins, I don't know. But he had like fins on his legs. Can he swim? Is that why? I don't know. But anyways, I do love this, all the different types of species you run. I know people find it repetitive. I don't know. I like it, but I don't jump from planet to planet that often. At least in the normal mode gameplay, as you can probably tell. So I mean, I don't. see a lot of. I don't see as much repeat as everyone else. I do see some repeat, absolutely. And if they added new parts to their so that they could use to generate, more and more kinds of creatures, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. Just when you see the different creatures, and that's why that's what I think people who bought the game are disappointed. That's what they should have thought to themselves. Like, do I want to see these creatures? And yeah, okay, maybe sometimes over and over, but like, do I want to walk around and explore and see new things, and that be the experience, and with the caveat that sometimes the new things you see might be things that you've seen before, in some manner or some perspective. But I mean, if your answer to that is yes, then absolutely buy the game. If not, well, then don't buy the game. And at least now, like with the 1.3 update, there's like missions you can take, there's like jobs and stuff. That's something that I kind of like, and they expanded the story elements and all that kind of jazz. So I think it's better for people who want that kind of stuff. But just thinking about the game when it came out, like, I don't know, if you bought it for what it was, I think it would be, you would have liked it. But for people who didn't like it, but I think people bought it more for what they wanted it to be. And I know about the promises and stuff, and I know whatever, but and I don't know if that was sort of the developer's fault or the publisher's fault. I'm not even going to get into that. I know publishers can be not always the nicest, but at the same time, I don't know. We can't always blame the publishers, but I mean, a lot of times. But especially, I mean, if it's Warner Brothers, you can basically blame them, I guess, all the time, no matter what. I mean, after Arkham Knight, they just basically get to take blame for everything, because that was, that was awful. Yeah, that, by the way, I couldn't zoom in because what I did was, around this time, I think it was that Valve released an update that lets you use your Xbox controller as if it was a Steam controller. And so I did, and there's a reason for that. The reason I did that is because then I could use it for games that don't actually have controller support, unlike this one. But in doing that, what it meant is now this game was treating the game, or the Xbox controller like it was a Steam controller, in that, like, the Steam controller is using the sort of the Steam controller config menu, and anyway, some of the configs weren't set up right, like some of the defaults, and I didn't realize. So what I thought was maybe in the update, they changed it so that you had to upgrade your analyzer before you could zoom, and I didn't think just to check out the configs and fix it and that kind of stuff. But so I was walking around without knowing how to zoom, and I was also, I think, walking around without knowing how to sprint, thinking again maybe it might have been an update or something, or that you have to improve your equipment before you can sprint. But yeah, I eventually did fix it, so I did eventually do that. But in the meantime, I didn't realize, and that I found pretty annoying, because I know in like the first version of the game, it was pretty hard to scan flying creatures, to be honest, because, well, it was just pretty hard. But then they made it easier, and it was pretty annoying before they fixed it. I don't think I actually took the picture of these. I think I went in picture mode, but I don't think I actually took the screenshot. Nope, no screenshot. Controlled descent, sort of. So got down without taking any damage. It's always good. I endorse not taking damage. That's my preferred thing to do. So yeah, so here's the mining, and then there's the gotchas. They're all cut out because you know what mining looks like. You don't need to see it. There's no point to keep it in, really. And yeah, this video is basically coming to a close. So look, if you liked it, please give it a like, and if you did watch it, I thank you for that. And why don't you go ahead and have yourself a great rest of your day.